Maya Carter stepped out of her sleek black car, her heels clicking softly on the polished stone driveway of the Luxor Hotel. She paused for a moment to take in the grandeur of the building. Its towering columns and glittering chandeliers screamed luxury. This was one of the most famous hotels in the city, known for hosting celebrities and high-profile events. Maya had been here before, but not as a guest. This time, she had a meeting with a potential investor, and she had chosen the Luxor Hotel for its central location and reputation. She walked into the grand lobby, her sharp business suit catching the light as she moved. Heads turned as she strode toward the front desk, her presence commanding attention. But as she approached, the receptionist behind the desk glanced at her and immediately looked dismissive. Maya noticed it right away. The way the woman's smile faltered, the slight narrowing of her eyes, and the subtle tightening of her posture. Maya had experienced this kind of reaction before, but it still stung. "Good afternoon," Maya said politely, handing over her ID and reservation confirmation. "I have a room booked under the name Maya Carter." The receptionist glanced at the documents and then back at Maya, her expression guarded. "One moment," she said, tapping at her computer. Her fingers moved slowly, almost deliberately. After a few minutes, she looked up and said, "I'm sorry, but it seems there's been a mistake. We don't have any rooms available." Maya frowned but kept her voice calm. "There must be some misunderstanding. I booked this room weeks ago and received confirmation. Can you please check again?" The receptionist sighed as if Maya's request was an inconvenience. She tapped at the keyboard again, then shook her head. "No, I'm sorry. There's nothing available. Perhaps you'd like to try another hotel." Before Maya could respond, a man in a dark suit appeared behind the desk. He was the manager, and his expression mirrored the receptionist's skepticism. "Is there a problem here?" he asked, looking at Maya as if she didn't belong. "Yes," Maya said, her tone firm but polite. "I have a confirmed reservation, but I'm being told there are no rooms available." The manager glanced at her ID and then at Maya herself. "I'm afraid there's nothing we can do," he said smoothly, though his tone carried a hint of condescension. "We're fully booked." Maya felt the heat rise in her chest, but she maintained her composure. She could see the assumptions written all over their faces. They didn't see her as a successful entrepreneur, a self-made billionaire. To them, she didn't fit the image of someone who should be staying at their exclusive hotel. Without raising her voice, Maya said, "I see. Thank you for your time." She turned and walked out of the lobby, her head held high. She could feel the eyes of other guests and staff on her, some curious, some dismissive. But Maya didn't let it show. She had faced prejudice before, and she knew better than to let it shake her. As she stepped into her car, a plan was already forming in her mind. She wasn't going to let this slide, not because of her pride, but because she knew that countless others had likely faced the same treatment. Maya was determined to make sure this hotel learned a lesson it would never forget. As Maya Carter drove away from the Luxor Hotel, her hands gripped the steering wheel tightly. She kept her face calm, but her mind was racing. The interaction at the hotel wasn't new to her. It was something she had faced many times throughout her life. But every time, it felt like a reminder of how far society still had to go. Maya wasn't just upset for herself. She thought about all the others who had likely been treated the same way, those who didn't have the power or resources to stand up for themselves. Maya grew up in a modest neighborhood where opportunities were scarce and success often felt out of reach. But she had always been determined to rise above her circumstances. From a young age, she had a sharp mind and an unshakable drive. She excelled in school, worked countless odd jobs to pay her way through college, and eventually started her own business. What began as a small real estate company quickly grew into a massive empire that included luxury properties, high-end restaurants, and even boutique hotels. She was now one of the most successful entrepreneurs in the country, but her journey hadn't been easy. As Maya pulled into the driveway of her mansion, she stepped out of her car and paused to admire her home. The sprawling estate with its perfectly manicured lawn and grand entrance was a symbol of how far she had come. But even standing there, she couldn't shake the feeling of anger and determination bubbling inside her. That evening, she sat in her study, surrounded by the accolades she had earned over the years. Framed awards and certificates lined the walls, a testament to her hard work and success. Maya opened her laptop and began researching the Luxora Hotel and its parent company. She wanted to understand more about the organization she was dealing with. What she found didn't surprise her. The hotel was part of a larger chain owned by a wealthy investment group. Its history included multiple complaints about discriminatory practices, guests being treated poorly based on their appearance, staff making assumptions about who belonged there, and a clear lack of accountability. Maya shook her head as she read through the reviews. This wasn't just her experience, it was a pattern. She leaned back in her chair, her mind working quickly. Buying and running businesses was her expertise, and she had a vision for what the Luxora Hotel could become. She didn't just want revenge. She wanted to create real change. Her plan wasn't about punishing the staff who had treated her poorly. It was about setting an example for how businesses should operate. Maya picked up her phone and made a call to her legal team. "I need you to start looking into the Luxora Hotel," she said. "I want a full report on their ownership structure and financial situation." Her assistant on the other end of the line hesitated. "Are you thinking of investing, Miss Carter?" Maya smiled, though her eyes gleamed with determination. "Something like that," she replied. As she ended the call, Maya felt a surge of energy. This wasn't just about owning a hotel. It was about proving that no one, no matter how successful or accomplished, should be judged by their appearance. And when she was done, the Luxora Hotel would stand as a beacon of fairness, inclusion, and respect for all. Maya sat at her desk late into the night, staring at the stack of documents in front of her. She had been working nonstop since deciding to pursue her plan to buy the Luxora Hotel. Her legal and financial teams were busy behind the scenes, gathering all the necessary information to make her purchase discreet and seamless. She knew the hotel's owners had no idea what was coming, and she intended to keep it that way for now. She wasn't just going to buy the hotel, she was going to take control and transform it into something far beyond what anyone had imagined. Maya's phone buzzed, snapping her out of her thoughts. It was a message from her lead attorney. She opened it, reading through the updates on the ownership structure of the Luxora Hotel. She had known the hotel's chain was profitable, but what surprised her was the extent of its financial mismanagement. There were hidden debts, overestimated projections, and poor investments, all things that, with her expertise, she could fix. The hotel's previous owners had clearly not been paying attention to the core values of customer service and respect, focusing solely on profit. She smiled to herself. She had always believed that businesses could succeed without sacrificing their integrity. This would be her opportunity to prove that, not just to herself, but to the world. The next few days were a whirlwind of meetings, phone calls, and late-night research. Maya spent hours analyzing the company's books, finalizing the details of her purchase, and preparing for the inevitable shock that would come once the sale went through. She knew she had to move quickly. Once the deal was finalized, she wanted to hit the ground running, making immediate changes to shake things up. At the same time, she began to think about what changes she would make, not just for herself, but for the hotel and its guests. She didn't want to just make the hotel financially successful again. She wanted it to become a place where people of all backgrounds felt valued. A place where customers wouldn't be judged by their appearance or assumptions made based on stereotypes. Maya believed that people came to hotels not only for luxury, but for the experience of being treated with dignity. The Luxora could be the model of a business that merged high standards of luxury with the kind of respect that every customer deserved. She drafted a plan that included overhauling the hotel's staff training programs, implementing a zero-tolerance policy for discrimination, and launching a new customer service initiative. The idea was simple. Hospitality meant making people feel welcomed, regardless of who they were. She also planned to host community outreach programs, offering local youth opportunities for internships and training in the hospitality industry. One evening, after finalizing the last details, Maya sat back in her chair, feeling both tired and energized. The purchase was set. The transfer of ownership would be completed in the next 48 hours, and she would officially be the owner of the Luxor Hotel. She took a deep breath, then stood up and walked over to the window, looking out over the city. She had worked hard to get to this point, and this next step was not only about her. This was about changing the way businesses treated people, about setting a new standard for fairness and respect. She smiled to herself. The world would soon know that the Luxor Hotel was under new management. And this time, it would be a place where everyone, no matter their background, was welcome. The day Maya had been waiting for had finally arrived. She stood in front of the Luxor Hotel, her gaze steady and focused as she looked up at the building. It had been a long journey, but now she was ready to take control. The sale had gone through smoothly, and she was now the official owner of the hotel. The Luxor was hers, but she knew the real work was just beginning. Today, she wasn't just here to own the property. She was here to change everything. Maya had already carefully planned her approach. She didn't want to announce her ownership in a flashy way that would make people feel like they were part of some spectacle. No, she wanted to make a statement that was powerful but subtle, one that showed her vision for the hotel and the kind of environment she wanted to create. She had arranged for a special meeting with the hotel's management team and staff, and she was determined to make her presence known. As she walked into the hotel, the staff were going about their usual routines, unaware that their world was about to change. Maya entered the grand lobby, the familiar sight of its marble floors and gold fixtures taking her back to the moment she was rejected. She couldn't help but feel a sense of pride at what she was about to do. She had worked her entire life to build her empire, and now she would show the world that it wasn't just about wealth. It was about creating opportunities, equality, and respect. Maya took the elevator to the top floor where the management team had gathered for a routine meeting. The room quieted as soon as she stepped inside. She could feel the eyes of the managers on her, some filled with curiosity, others with suspicion. They had no idea who she was, nor did they know the power she now held over their careers. Standing at the front of the room, Maya introduced herself. "Good afternoon," she began, her voice calm and confident. "I'm Maya Carter, and as of today, I'm the new owner of the Luxor Hotel." There was a brief silence as the managers exchanged confused glances. Some of them looked skeptical, others just confused. One of the senior managers, a man in his 50s, raised his hand. "Excuse me, ma'am, but I think there's been some sort of misunderstanding. I don't think you're the owner." Maya smiled, not a hint of surprise in her expression. "I assure you I am. And I didn't come here to explain who I am. I came here to explain who we're going to be moving forward." The tension in the room was palpable as she continued. "I've been in this business for many years, and I've learned that success isn't just about profit. It's about how we treat people. And the Luxor, as beautiful as it is, has become a symbol of exclusion, where assumptions are made based on who people are and how they look. I'm here to change that." She paused, allowing her words to sink in. The room was silent, and Maya could tell that some of the staff were uneasy, others were skeptical, but a few seemed hopeful. "I have big plans for this hotel," Maya continued. "But before we talk about renovations or marketing strategies, we need to talk about respect. I expect all of you to treat every guest with dignity, regardless of their appearance, background, or status. That's non-negotiable. There will be zero tolerance for discrimination here. We will focus on building an inclusive culture where everyone, staff and guests alike, feels welcome." She then outlined her new initiatives: comprehensive staff training on diversity and inclusivity, a guest services program that focused on personalized, empathetic attention, and an outreach plan to involve the local community in the hotel's growth. The room was still quiet, but the atmosphere had shifted. The staff could sense the strength in her words and the passion behind them. Maya's vision for the hotel wasn't about maintaining the status quo. It was about transforming the Luxor into a place where everyone was treated equally and with respect. As the meeting ended, Maya addressed the group one last time. Change takes time, and it will take all of us working together. But I believe in what we can achieve here. Let's make the Luxor a hotel we can all be proud of. As she left the meeting room, Maya felt a sense of accomplishment. She had made her intentions clear, and now it was time for action. She knew the road ahead would be challenging, but she was ready for it. The Luxor Hotel was about to enter a new era, one built on fairness, equality, and the power of change. The days following Maya's announcement of her plans for the Luxor Hotel were a whirlwind. Staff members, some skeptical, others excited, began to see that Maya wasn't just talk. She was a woman of action. She had already started making changes to the hotel's operations, and the transformation was beginning to take shape. Maya didn't expect everything to change overnight, but she had set a clear direction. The staff had no choice but to follow her lead. One of her first moves was to hire a new management team that aligned with her values. She brought in experienced leaders who had a deep understanding of diversity, inclusion, and customer care. These new leaders quickly set to work with the existing staff, training them on new practices and philosophies that would redefine how they viewed their roles and responsibilities. Maya had chosen people who understood the importance of empathy, who would teach not only the mechanics of customer service, but also how to connect with guests on a deeper level. She wanted the Luxor to be more than just a hotel. It was going to be a place where people felt welcomed and valued no matter who they were. The hotel's staff training began almost immediately. Workshops were held every week, covering everything from anti-bias training to hands-on customer interaction. Maya was directly involved in the process, often sitting in on training sessions and giving talks about her own experiences. She encouraged the staff to share their thoughts and concerns, creating an open dialogue where everyone could learn from each other. At first, there were some awkward moments. A few of the longtime employees resisted the changes, hesitant to embrace a new approach. But Maya wasn't easily discouraged. She knew that change wasn't always comfortable, but it was necessary for the kind of hotel she wanted to create. Slowly, attitudes began to shift. Those who had initially been skeptical started to understand the bigger picture. They saw that this wasn't about conforming to a set of rules. It was about creating a culture of respect and kindness. The next major step in Maya's plan was to focus on the hotel's community outreach. She knew that for the Luxor to truly succeed, it couldn't operate in isolation from the city and its people. Maya organized events and programs to engage the local community, offering scholarships for aspiring hospitality workers and creating internships for young adults who had never had the opportunity to work in the luxury industry. She also initiated a series of partnerships with local businesses, bringing in food vendors, artists, and craftsmen from the surrounding neighborhoods to showcase their work in the hotel's spaces. This was Maya's way of honoring the community that had supported her on her journey to success. She wanted to give back, and the Luxor was the perfect platform to do that. One of her proudest moments came when she walked into the hotel lobby a few months after the changes were implemented. The atmosphere was completely different. Guests were smiling as they checked in. The staff was cheerful and attentive, and there was a noticeable warmth in the air. Maya knew that this was just the beginning, but she could already see the fruits of her hard work. She watched as a young woman in the lobby greeted a guest, explaining the hotel's new community programs. Maya approached her and asked how she was finding the new training. "It's amazing," the woman said with a big smile. "I feel like I'm not just here to serve guests. I'm here to make them feel at home. It's different than anything I've experienced before." Maya smiled, feeling a deep sense of pride. This was exactly what she had hoped for. A transformation not just in the hotel's appearance or its customer service, but in the very hearts of its people. As she looked around at the bustling lobby, Maya knew she had made the right decision. The Luxora was no longer just a luxury hotel. It was a place where everyone, from the staff to the guests, felt like they belonged. This was her vision come to life. And as she stood there, watching the positive energy fill the space, Maya felt confident that the Luxora was on its way to becoming a symbol of respect, inclusion, and excellence. The journey hadn't been easy, but it had been worth it. Maya had taken a hotel that once represented exclusion and turned it into something that truly represented the best of humanity. She had faced adversity, but she had come out stronger, more determined to create a legacy that would last for generations. Months passed, and the transformation at the Luxora Hotel continued to gain momentum. The changes Maya had put in motion were now visible to everyone, from the staff to the guests. The atmosphere in the hotel had shifted from a place of exclusion to one of warmth and openness. Maya watched the hotel become a model of what could happen when people, no matter their background, were treated with respect and dignity. But Maya knew that the work wasn't done yet. There was still much more to be accomplished. One of the most significant changes was the way the hotel's management handled customer interactions. Gone were the days of cold, impersonal service. Now, every employee was trained to greet guests with genuine warmth, ensuring that each person felt valued. Maya had emphasized that customer service wasn't just about offering luxury. It was about making connections and providing an experience that guests would remember for the right reasons. Maya was often seen walking through the hotel, stopping to talk to staff and guests. She took the time to listen to their concerns, offer encouragement, and make sure everyone felt heard. She also made sure that any issues, big or small, were addressed quickly and with care. The result was that guests began returning more often, and the hotel's reputation for excellent service began to spread. Maya also focused on creating new opportunities for employees. She knew that many of the people who worked at the Luxora Hotel had faced challenges in their lives, and she wanted to make sure they had the chance to grow. She implemented programs that provided employees with access to further training, leadership development, and even scholarships for education in the hospitality industry. Maya believed that by investing in her employees, she was investing in the future of the hotel. One afternoon, while Maya was having lunch with some of the hotel's management team, she received an unexpected call. It was from a high-profile guest, a businesswoman from a nearby city who had heard about the changes at the Luxora Hotel. She was interested in hosting an event at the hotel, but she wanted to make sure it aligned with the values Maya had set for the hotel. Maya listened carefully to the guests' concerns and answered her questions thoughtfully. After the call, Maya turned to her team. "This is exactly what we've been working toward," she said. "People are noticing. They're hearing about the changes, and they want to be a part of it. This is the kind of attention we've been hoping for." A few weeks later, the event was confirmed. The Luxora Hotel would host a prestigious conference that would bring together some of the most influential business leaders in the country. Maya's vision for the hotel was becoming a reality on a much larger scale. The event would not only bring in new guests, but it would also give the hotel a chance to showcase the changes it had made. As the day of the event approached, Maya spent hours planning the details. She wanted everything to be perfect, not just for the event's success, but to demonstrate the values that had become the foundation of the Luxora Hotel. It was about showing that a hotel could provide the finest service while embracing inclusivity and respect. The day of the conference arrived, and the hotel buzzed with excitement. Guests entered the lobby, greeted warmly by staff who made them feel like they were entering a home rather than just a luxury hotel. The conference was a success, and it was clear that the changes Maya had introduced were making an impact. The event was filled with positive feedback, not only about the hotel's facilities, but about the hotel's culture of respect and professionalism. Later that evening, Maya stood in the hotel's grand ballroom, watching the final guests leave. She felt a deep sense of pride. This wasn't just about creating a luxurious hotel. It was about changing perceptions and proving that luxury could coexist with fairness and equality. Maya knew that the work was ongoing, but as she watched the guests smile and shake hands with the staff. She knew they were on the right path. The event had been a huge success, and Maya was more determined than ever to continue pushing the boundaries of what was possible. She was creating not just a successful hotel, but a legacy, one that would inspire others to think differently about business, service, and humanity. The Luxor Hotel had become a beacon of inclusivity, and Maya knew that this was only the beginning. As Maya walked through the halls of the Luxor Hotel, she couldn't help but smile to herself. The change she had envisioned was now a reality, and the hotel was buzzing with positive energy. It had become not just a place of luxury, but a symbol of inclusion and respect. Guests who once may have felt unwelcome in other high-end hotels now walked through the doors of the Luxor and immediately felt at ease. Maya's vision of what a luxury hotel could and should be was coming to life in front of her eyes. Maya had worked hard to create an environment where both guests and employees could thrive. She had cultivated a workplace culture that emphasized empathy, respect, and understanding. It wasn't just about making money, it was about making a difference. She knew that by leading with integrity, she would not only set the Luxor apart from other hotels, but she would also pave the way for change in the entire industry. The first signs of success were evident in the hotel's rising customer satisfaction ratings and glowing reviews. Guests repeatedly praised the staff's friendly, attentive service, and many commented on the welcoming atmosphere that Maya had worked so hard to build. For Maya, these small victories were more meaningful than any financial gain. She knew that by treating people with respect, the hotel's reputation would grow, and the customers would keep coming back. One afternoon, Maya received a letter from a guest who had stayed at the hotel for a week-long business conference. The letter was heartfelt, and the guest thanked Maya and her staff for making their stay so pleasant and memorable. In the letter, the guest wrote, "I've stayed at many luxury hotels throughout my career, but the experience I had at the Luxor was unlike anything I've ever encountered. Not only was the service impeccable, but I felt welcomed as an individual. You've built something truly special here, and it's a place I will always remember." Maya read the letter twice, smiling to herself. She had always believed that the human connection was at the heart of good service, and this letter was confirmation that she had been right. Maya carefully framed the letter and placed it on her office wall, a reminder of why she started this journey in the first place. Despite all the progress she had made, Maya knew there was still work to do. She wasn't going to stop pushing for change. The world was constantly evolving, and she wanted to be at the forefront of that change, showing others that businesses could succeed by being ethical and inclusive. As part of her ongoing commitment to her community, Maya created a new program at the hotel to offer paid internships to young adults from underprivileged backgrounds. She wanted to provide them with the skills and opportunities they needed to succeed in the hospitality industry. She also launched a scholarship fund to help those interested in pursuing careers in business and hotel management. Maya knew how much it had meant to her to have people believe in her potential when she was young, and now she wanted to pass that belief on to the next generation. The hotel continued to flourish, and the word spread. People weren't just staying at the Luxor, they were becoming a part of its mission. They appreciated the hotel's commitment to fairness, diversity, and respect. Maya's efforts were slowly changing the hospitality industry, one hotel at a time. One day, as Maya sat in her office overlooking the bustling hotel lobby, she realized how much the Luxor had become a reflection of her own values. It wasn't just a business, it was a living testament to the fact that treating people with respect and fairness wasn't just the right thing to do. It was also good for business. Maya had proven that you didn't have to sacrifice your principles for success. In fact, success came when you embraced integrity and treated everyone with kindness. As Maya watched the guests check in, laughing and chatting with the staff, she knew that her work had only just begun. The future of the Luxor was bright, and the legacy she was building was one that would inspire others to follow her lead. The world was changing, and Maya was proud to be a part of that change.